Hey everybody, welcome back to Escape Reality Star Wars Talk. I'm your host Caleb.
I'm Seth. I talk Star Wars with this man.
And we're pre-recorded again this week, but we did give a
Yeah.
warning, so they knew. They knew. Y'all were told it was going to happen. Because I'm busy hanging out with Cal right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, literally right now, by the time this episode is going for them, I'm hanging out with Cal.
Yeah, and I'm either sleeping, playing the game, or at work.
It'd be 1 o'clock, so... Probably.
And
Probably not at work then, based on what you told me.
probably not.
Probably sleeping or playing a game.
Yeah.
This week we did finish up what we were going to read this week, which was a few comics and a short story. But we'll get into that in a little bit. Any major things to talk about this week?
Not really.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you there. I don't really have too much news.
I have the stuff that I did like last weekend that was fun, but which is just Kiari's tabletop gaming.
Oh, yeah.
Progressing in that.
And that's that one is not, that one's just for you guys.
Yeah. It's just for us.
So, sorry, y'all can't watch that one.
Yeah, that one's not available to the public.
Yeah. Is it a good time though?
It is.
I've heard he's a really good DM.
He is. For a guy that claims to not like horror movies, Kiari is really good at body horror.
Just at like describing it and giving you the heebie-jeebies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're dealing with basically a silkworm as an enemy in a fucking mushroom forest.
Oh. Yeah.
Yeah. One of the brief encounters that we had last week, so my character and John's character, because it's sort of in a weird, like, the world is being rebuilt kind of thing via unknown means. And sometimes people get to keep their memories when they're, like, reincarnated from the old world. Mine and John, all of the party's characters have done that.
Oh. Okay.
And while we were going on a side mission to, like, get some people back from the big silkworm, mine and John's characters came across people from the old world who they explicitly had beef with. And the reasons why they had beef with is, for John's character, hey, you're that goblin that killed my mom. Meanwhile, with my character, it's, you're that bitch that stabbed my son in the back while we were fighting a dragon.
Very different heightened levels of what the fuckery.
Yeah. Both still just as mad.
Yeah, no. Both are very valid reasons to be mad. Just a different level of, like they're different levels.
Yeah.
But they're both valid reasons.
Yeah.
You know, like it's that situation of, that's a valid reason. I also have a valid reason, but mine is a more insane story.
For context, John, the mother of John's character, was also a dragon, so we were both very, very much like, we're just gonna fuck these guys up.
Yep.
And, like, the plan that formulated was, alright, so I'm gonna sneak up and stab them after you use your strongest attack on them. This worked pretty well. And because of how Pathfinder 2nd Edition does crits, very well.
Yeah, because for the audience, 2nd edition, basically it's like it's a lot lower of a threshold. Well, it's lower and higher at the same time.
If you get 10 over your enemy's armor class.
Yeah, which could be very easy or very hard depending on the creatures you're fighting. But on the same end, it's 10 below, and it's a crit fail.
Mm-hmm.
So,
now, the funniest thing is how sorry.
and I know Pathfinder also for damage regarding crits, they do what the house rule of D&D for a lot of D&D tables is, which is just double what you rolled without having to roll again. So just whatever you rolled and then double the damage to make it easier, rather than making you roll extra. which can be good or bad. I think that I honestly think that doesn't always guarantee the most damage, but a lot of people do.
But it's the easiest one
Yeah,
to be
like a lot of people do it because they think it means more damage, but I can tell you that's not entirely true.
Yeah.
Because you might roll a bunch of ones on that damage, and then, well, no, double that. That still sucks.
It's a higher potential, but the reality is not always the case.
Yeah.
But Hermos goes and he explicitly is like, here is why I am doing this thing to you. And then, like, at the end of it, it occurs to me, you know, the people that did this may not have carried their memories from the old world. In which case, to these guys, it looks like we just went up and fucking murdered them for no reason. And during...
It's very much a case of, I don't even know you, man.
Yeah. Oh, I know you.
Yeah,
And, like, at the end of it,
it's
right?
very similar to a show I'm watching right now. But go ahead.
And at the end of it, right, I'm like, one of the enemies is, like, begging for their life from Hermos, and Hermos is still kind of, like, too mad to listen.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, Hermos would strike at them, which unfortunately killed them. And then I'm like, so now we can talk. And Kiaria is like, yeah, dude, she had like 2 health and you fucking hit her for 17.
Jeez. No, yeah, so it reminds me of specifically, and I know you haven't watched the show because it's Marvel, but Punisher Season 2 specifically, which I have been rewatching because of the Daredevil connections with the new show. And so I've been rewatching Punisher as part of my rewatches to like remind myself of certain plot points.
Mm-hmm.
And Season 2 specifically of Punisher, I feel like I can go into this because it's such an old show.
Yeah, it's been a few years.
So at the end of Season 1, Punisher slams Billy Russo's face into a carousel, like into the glass of a carousel, like in the mirror in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
And basically is like, oh, you're going to remember the shit you did to my family, and this is going to be your punishment and reminder of it, right? Having the scars on your face as a reminder of this. Bro has... Billy Russo loses all of his memories to anything that happened before he came back home from war.
Oh, no.
So everything he did up to that point, like up to being in the military, that's it. That's all the man remembers. So in Season 2, he's like, oh yeah, my friend Frank. Because he don't remember what he did. He don't know that he's the reason that Frank's family was murdered. Similarly, there's another character in the show that's an original character that's not in the comics. Dina, and she's like a special agent. Mm-hmm. She's Homeland Security, and so like she had a relationship with Billy in Season 1 until she found out what he was up to, and then he shot her in the head during that carousel finale scene in Season 1. So she's mad at him for that and thinks he's faking his memory loss. And the only thing that Billy has to remind him of what happened is he just has PTSD dreams of the skull shirt.
Oh, yeah.
That's all he's got, is he knows the skull logo is what slammed his face and broke him. That's all he knows. Yeah. And then, of course, eventually because Billy is still a bad person, even if he forgot things, he's still a bad person. And I think that's also a point that the show's trying to make, is that, yeah, he lost his memory, but that did not change who he was as a person.
Yeah. Oh, that didn't change his fundamental nature.
Yeah. He like leads a bunch of veterans into like we watched that scene
Yeah.
together where they do the bank heist, or they're planning the bank heist anyways. And so so he leads a bunch of other veterans into like getting back to society via committing crimes. And during one of the bank heists, Punisher Frank shows up wearing the thing, and he's like, "Oh my God, you're the guy who did that. Why would you do that to me? You're my brother. Why would you do that?" Because once again, he doesn't know what he did, which makes Frank, of course, do the opposite of you guys, which is he actually hesitates because he's like, I can't kill him if he doesn't know what he did, and I'm the reason he doesn't know what he did.
The funny part for me is that I realized later is that Hermos realized after he killed them.
You're like, wait a minute.
They might not have known.
They might not have known. And you're just like, Hermos is just like, oh God, did I?
Hermos, pretty much actually, because
like it's a short second of like, oh God, what did I do? And then it's like,
Hermos has had a couple of times throughout the fight, throughout most of the fights in the world that he's been going in, like, this creature is like a weird, fucked up science experiment, but it hasn't done anything wrong, technically, by existing. But if I don't kill it, things are just gonna get worse. It's a case of, like, I would prefer not to, but I don't have any other options.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, that's mostly what I mean, I've been also reading stuff and, the usual stuff. We beat GTA 2.
All right.
For the streams.
Now you're on 3?
We're on GTA Advance, because it's a prequel to 3. Okay. So GTA Advance for the Game Boy Advance is going to be what we play Monday. I mean, it was I guess you could assume it was for the Game Boy Advance, but that would assume that you know what not everybody might know what the Game Boy Advance is. Yeah. We might have a younger audience that might not know what a GBA is.
Pixie, tell them what a GBA is.
The chat's not live. It's even funnier because it's actually Pixie celebrating her birthday today when the video is coming out. Well, it's her birthday when we're recording, but she's celebrating when this video comes out. So, okay. So yeah. Happy birthday, Pixie.
Happy birthday, Pixie.
Because we know you're probably watching.
Yep.
At the very least, Zach is watching, and he'll tell you.
Yep. And Zach, hope you're feeling better. I know you had to go and get your shots the other day.
Yeah. We didn't get to play any Fortnite together because he wasn't feeling too well. What else is going on? I think that's really about it. GTA 2, better than GTA 1. Because there's no timed missions. Thank God. Fuck GTA 1 for their timed missions. Because driving top-down and having timed missions... No. GTA 2 also has a proper invincibility cheat, so I use that. Whereas GTA 1 did not. GTA 1 just had like a get everything cheat. No invincibility one. Although, GTA 2's invincibility cheat, you are not truly 100% invincible. If you're in a vehicle and the vehicle blows up, you still die.
I see.
So, I had to start it only took us two streams to do it, but I had to tactically get out of vehicles once they got on fire, and I'd be like, oh, well, crap, I can't be in that vehicle now, because if I stay in this for too long, they might blow me up, and then I have to either restart the mission or...
A tactical vehicle switch.
Yeah, tactical vehicle switch. Even in tanks, which I did get a lot of tank moments, because we ended up beating the game via points rather than missions, because in GTA 1 and 2... There's no real story going on. There's a light story to explain what you're doing, which it's basically, you work for gangs now, go do crime. That's essentially GTA 1 and 2.
Ooh, crime.
Yeah, you work for the gangs now, go do crime. One, it's the case of you go to different cities within the GTA universe and commit those crimes. So, San Andreas, Liberty City, Vice City. Those are established in GTA 1. Except the difference between universes, because there are 3 GTA universes.
Oh boy.
There's the 2D universe, which is just GTA 1 and 2. The 3D universe, which is GTA 3, anything that came out from GTA 3 up until GTA 4. So, or no, anything 3 in that era. So 3, San Andreas, Vice City Stories, Liberty City Stories, Advance. Even though it is a top-down GTA game, it's part of the 3D universe. I think that's all of them. Because Liberty City Stories, Vice City Stories, Vice City 3, San Andreas. Yeah, that's all of them. And Advance. But then the HD universe is 4 and 5, and then Chinatown Wars, even though that's a top-down one for the DS and PSP. Okay. But that's because it came out during the time for, like, after 4, before 5. So it came out in the HD era, so therefore it is an HD GTA game, and it's part of the HD canon. So there's different. So each one has their own separate canon of things. So 4 can be referenced in 5, but you probably won't get a CJ reference from San Andreas in 5. Now, and you might, but that doesn't mean the events of San Andreas specifically happen in 5's universe, because it's part of the 3D universe, not the HD universe. Does that make kind of sense? Like, it's on a different
to me, but
it's
it
different.
Makes sense to someone.
It's different levels of canon. So CJ, it's similar to the Star Wars situation with Legends and canon, where Legends things can be referenced in the canon material. So like, Revan is canon by name, right? Mm-hmm. But the events of what he did is not canon. Like, in terms of like Knights of the Republic, the video game is not canon to the events of canon. It is still Legends material. So that's kind of
okay.
So
that
like
weird nebulous zone
where CJ as a character exists in the HD universe, and maybe he had adventures like he did in San Andreas, but the events of San Andreas specifically are not canon to the HD universe.
Okay.
They are canon to the 3D universe. Now, I've been playing them in order of as if they all were one universe anyway, so I'm going in the order of the timelines of when those games each respectively take place. So, started with London 1969 or whatever, which was a DLC or expansion, rather, because this is before DLCs were a thing. It was an expansion to Grand Theft Auto 1. Which there were actually 2 London ones, but I couldn't get the even old, like the one that's even further in the past, because that is actually the second. They called them mission packs, so it was the second mission pack. I couldn't get that one because it wasn't released on PlayStation, but it was released on PC. But the PC ports that I can find for GTA 1, so GTA 1 and 2 are abandonware.
Oh. Other thing.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Other thing that I've been up to this week. Me and Sky have been going through Shipwreck 64, which is a fun little analog horror game, and goddamn.
Yeah. But yeah, GTA 1 and 2 are abandonware, which means not supported officially. The last time we had any sort of official support was like for the few months that GTA 1 and 2 were available on Steam. And then now you can't get them. And they were only available if you bought like a bunch of other GTA games at the same time. That was the only way you could get 1 and 2. But now they're delisted again. Can't even get them through the Rockstar like app, like Rockstar's storefront, right? Because they've got their own PC storefront. So when I tried to get GTA 1 so I could start this thing, I've downloaded a copy of it because that's the only way you can do it now is go to like an abandonware site and go, oh, I want to play GTA 1. The problem is modern hardware. If a game has not been, that is really old, has not been set to run on modern hardware, it may run too well. And by too well, I mean the cars are zooming.
Yeah.
Your character is zooming. Because your computers nowadays run really fast compared to they did even in the 90s, which is when GTA 1 and 2 would have came out.
Yeah, the difference 30 years can make.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
It's crazy. So I decided to do the PlayStation ports because then they don't, then I'm not having to worry about that type of stuff. But that also meant I didn't get to play the other GTA London mission pack. So, started with 1969. GTA 2 takes place in a weird near future or 2012, depending who you ask.
Okay.
Because it's in this, like, techie kind of future, because they talk about, like, they do mention, like, how they've got, like, security cameras, but then, like, they're also talking about the millennium still, like how it's coming, it's on its way, which means it is near future to when the game comes out. Because the millennium hasn't happened yet when GTA 2 came out.
Oh.
And it is a weird time where everybody was talking about the millennium and what that means. Is technology going to destroy the world, or are we going to get a blackout of technology? For those of y'all who don't know how people reacted way back when we were about to hit the year 2000.
Yeah, for context, I would have been 1. If that.
I was 5. So, But, I mean...
Which is very funny to think, like... If that actually had happened, right? The big problem at that time.
Yeah, because everybody thought...
It would be fucking hilarious.
Yeah, because what a lot of people were worried about... Do you know why they were worried?
I remember that it's like, we didn't know if the Zero was going to fuck things up or not.
Yeah, because, even back then, they had, you look at your computer monitor, you have the little clock on there. Back then, they didn't put the whole date on the clock. So, like, right now, mine says, 2025 for the year. Back then, they just put the last 2 digits, because that's how we operated with time at that time. Mm-hmm. They were worried of what happens when the clock hits 0. What happened is it just kept going. It just went, okay, it's 2000.
Yep.
Because even in the programming, it still said 2000. So they didn't realize that the programming still had the 4 digits. So they were like, oh man, is technology going to black out if it hits 0?
Turns out the answer is no.
No, technology just kind of finds a way, much like Jurassic Park.
Now, thinking about that, if that had gone through, we'd be living in a very different... If it had worked the way people thought, very different problem.
Yeah, I don't know if the world would have entirely shut down.
I doubt that.
But there would have probably been some chaos in the terms of, like, any digital banking, any... stuff like that. But we weren't as where, like, I think it would be different if it were to happen now.
Oh, yeah.
Because now literally everything is digital. Just about. Way more than it was back then. Back then, there was still a lot more analog, where I think we would have been fine in the long term. It would have just been maybe a month or 2 of chaos, and then... But also, some people were like, oh, well, the machines rise up against it. Like, some people went a little further with it, where they were like, robot apocalypse.
Cool theory, not what would happen.
Yeah. And so...
You want to talk about the news?
Yeah, let's talk about Star Wars news. I was trying to think if there was anything else that I've been up to. Not really.
Oh, here's a fun thing. So, I like Tekken, right?
Mm-hmm.
Guess who's fucking back?
Heihachi.
He's back from the dead again.
Are we surprised?
no, I shouldn't be, but I'm like, oh, finally they killed this fucker. And then they're like, haha, no, we lied again.
I'm still mad we don't get the Waffle House location in because they couldn't quite figure out how they wanted to do that. Because they were going to put Waffle House as a location for fights.
It would be great.
Because they legitimately got the creator. I don't know his name off the top of my head. You might know better than me, but they got
I should.
They got the creator really interested in the Waffle House lore and like trying to figure out like understand Waffle House culture. And so like Twitter had this man like in the depths going like, okay, how does this work? Like, what is Waffle House culture? And like people just explaining to him. And this is like a few years ago, so you know this is old news. But like explaining like just like the fights that happen there and the vibe essentially of Waffle House and how we use Waffle House Index and all that for like natural disasters and
how bad is it? Is Waffle House closed?
And like how it's almost in a way like a lot of people were saying like you could really design it as if it were a liminal space sort of situation.
It's a random encounter box, really, depending on when you go there.
Yeah.
I think we discussed how it's like your vibe has to match the Waffle Houses, otherwise things don't work.
Yeah. And I think I've never had a bad experience. I've never had like fights happen when I've gone to Waffle Houses. I can't speak for your experiences with Waffle Houses.
I haven't, but then again, I am a big man who minds his business.
Well, I mean, but like I've never even been there and then had like somebody else come in and start something. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I've never had that.
Fortunately, no. There have been some times when like me and Andrew and like whoever else we've been there, we finished our meal rather quickly.
Yeah.
And we were like, that doesn't involve us, but we're gonna go home now.
And like the food's not the best food, but it's pretty good.
It does the job.
I mean, do you want it almost feels like a home cooked breakfast.
Yeah, a little bit.
Like so it's not going to be like you're not going there for like 5-star breakfast.
No, you don't. You go there because nowhere else is open.
You go there because nowhere else is open, and it's kind of a chill vibe as long as like no fights happen. It's
in my opinion, actually pretty rare for a fight to happen.
I think it's just the internet has made it seem that especially like with stuff like the Waffle House chair stuff and meme and all that. I mean, that is a rarity in my experience anyways, because once again, I've never had that happen, and I've gone plenty of times. It was a tradition for my college drama department when we finished doing strike, where we took everything down, you know, because at the end of the show you do strike, you take everything down in one night, right? Or as much of it as possible, right? And after strike, we go to the Waffle House that's right across the street from campus, and we just had food there, and like that's like 8-10 people going there, and and so like we just had our food, our coffee, and then and so I mean that's my experiences with Waffle House that are very positive, and it's just that's why I think of Waffle House as a good thing. I don't think of it as this weird, like I don't think of it negatively and as this place where fights happen that much, because I just haven't experienced that. But also, once again, it depends on the Waffle House as well, because there's Waffle Houses all over in the South. Like there are so many of them.
Waffle Houses are like, I don't know if there's more Waffle Houses or Hunt Brothers pizzas.
More Waffle Houses,
probably.
Because I can immediately think of two that are like, if I left the house, I could easily choose either one, and they'd be the same distance from me. Because they're both technically on the same street.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's the one that's near the Walmart.
Yeah.
And then there's the one that's near the gas station. That's the Exxon, past the Winn-Dixie. Literally about the same distance, well, not right now because of that road closure, but if that road was open, then they'd be about the same distance.
Waffle House is an interesting place.
Yeah, I mean, and I like getting the All-Star. I like getting the my eggs, my bacon, and my grits or hash browns, depending on the day, because you pick which one. So depending on the day, I'll go back and forth, because their hash browns are pretty good. The bacon, I mostly have had good experiences on, but the last couple ones I have not, because I'm a man who likes my bacon crispy. Last couple times they've been a little more fat on the fatty side, and a little bit more wiggly and undercooked, in my opinion. Like, they weren't really undercooked, but they were just like, you could have left them on the grill a little longer.
I guess this is tangentially related because it's still food. We've started selling like a little $5 home style like chicken sandwiches at the store. And so earlier this week I bought some and I was like, oh, this is nice. It's a shame that there's only 2 in that box. But they're really good though. We've also started selling like actual 2-liter Cokes.
Ooh, that's good, because I know you like to get your 2 liters whenever you order something.
They cost $2.25, but hey, that's better than most places.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, I think we're pretty much... Yeah, I think we've filled up...
the news.
Yeah, we've filled up our air a little bit, so I think we can talk about news. We only got a little bit of news. Only 2 pieces that I picked. There were some articles here and there.
Yeah, and I think I was like...
One of them you said no on, which I kind of agree, because it's not enough really to go off of, and then everything else I'm kind of like, we can skip. So, first piece of news... Young Jedi Adventures won a Children's and Family Emmy.
Hell yeah.
Which this is actually their second time in a row getting that, because they also got some for the 2023 awards, which means now they have gotten 3 Emmys to their name, winning the same one back to back, actually. Because this year they got the sound mixing and sound editing for a preschool animated program, which they got last time, as well as 2 others, or as well as 1 other last time. But they were nominated for 4. But also, I'm not upset that any of them, lost. Yeah. So it was voice directing, music direction, and composition and editing. Music direction and composition, and then editing. Sorry, the way I said that was weird, where it made it sound like composition and editing were in the same one. As far as other Disney programs, Percy Jackson and the Olympians went home with 8 awards.
All right.
And then right now there's discussions of of next year's show. For the Children's and Families Emmys, including Percy Jackson Season 2, because that's supposed to come out this year, as well as Skeleton Crew, since that was late last year and would have missed the event, would have missed the window to be this past Emmys. But you know what? Hell yeah. I'm glad that Young Jedi Adventures is getting some...
Yeah, we get to see Tibor and Kai fucking square up again.
But we're gonna get to watch. Yeah, we're gonna watch season 2 soon for the show, because they just dropped the last half of the season on Disney Plus. So I gotta add it to the schedule and figure out when we'll watch it. Yep. In other news, though, going away from TV, going into comics, Dr. Aphra comic has been announced.
Aphra.
Yeah, Dr. Aphra Chaos Agent is what they're calling it.
What did you do?
And it's going to be a post episode 6 stuff, so it's going to be continuing the new era of Star Wars comics that just immediately after episode 6 stuff, because that's what they've been trying to do for the new Star Wars run. They've got who they got on the team? They got Gabriel Guzman doing art. And we got Cherish Chen on the writing team, who worked at Image Comics. So that's some I don't know them by name, but I am interested. But I have read Darth Vader and the Cry of Shadows, which was the art that Gabriel Guzman did. But it's been a long time because that's Legends. That's a Legends comic. That's not a canon comic. So I am interested to see what they do. The art does we have like covers, so the cover art looks good at the very least, but that's not the same artist. That's a different artist for each of them. So I do like the cover art, and I like it's got Luke and Aphra, and for the first issue, which makes sense because we kind of got some hints of that they'd be having to team up a little bit more from the last comic we read with them. And the first issue is in June, so June 18th. And of course, the main Star Wars comic is supposed to start in May, so exciting. I'm upset though because I still want Bounty Hunter to be one of those comics that we get back, but we might not. On one hand, I want Valence deserves a happy life, but also I want to be entertained, and I like Valence. Yeah, it means he suffers more, but
give that man a break, okay?
What other comics would I want to see come back for that? Because that would be the Bounty Hunters, that'd be Aphra, Mainline. That's usually that's the three that I can immediately think of. That because there wouldn't be a Vader comic, obviously, because he's dead. So I think that's all the main lines from the old stuff that would come back. And right now we've got a Kylo comic going on, the Legacy of Vader comic. And that's a mini series that's halfway done, I think, because the first 2 issues I think are out. But also all that is exciting stuff for comic side. I think that's it though for news, which brings us into talking more comics for today's topic, as well as a short story as we go back to the High Republic era with some High Republic adventures stuff.
Yep.
Do we want to talk about I guess we'll talk about the annual first because that's chronologically the order. Honestly, all of those shorts in the annual are really good. I was happy to see Churro back. Hell yeah.
Mm-hmm. I think out of all of them, I like Churros the most.
It's very bright and inspirational. Like, Churros is very much we're in some bad times, but I'm going to do what I can to make the world better. So... and that's the most I can do. And, like, even the Jedi, like, that he's with is like, yeah, yep. And, like, Churro goes through continuing, like, trying to save Nal Hutta and kind of has this moment of, like, finds the ability to cure his homeworld, but then has to choose between killing another planet to do so.
Yeah.
And...
he is like,
Churro,
no.
we already knew Churro didn't have the heart to do that, but getting to actually see him actively choose not to was still good.
Yeah.
And even think about it and go, my cousin would absolutely have done this.
Yeah. Without hesitation.
Because let's not forget about Dara. Yeah.
The other one that I really like is Driggets.
Oh, yeah.
But...
setting up for the Battle of Iriadu stuff.
Yeah, but that's just because I am also on that Drigget timing, meaning I will use any methods against the Nihil, because fuck those guys. Well, almost. Apparently I draw the line at shooting them in a hospital while they're in a coma.
Yeah.
That is a callback to earlier events.
Of course we also start to see the starts of some of the invasions going on the out. So the Adelphi is one of them, which is kind of the Nihil kind of leading up to this Battle of Nihil or Battle of Iriadu that we've been just building up to since the start of Phase 3, right? And so Master Buck sends some of these younglings that we have the first time seeing. One of them with the most average fucking name, by the way. Motherfucking John.
Mm-hmm.
You got Toko and Bree, and then you got John.
Yep.
Without an H.
Jon.
John. See, if you said it like that, then it's interesting. But no, it's John. It's just John. But they go to watch Indiana Jones. Which is why I had to make the joke when I told you today that I was like, I'm catching up. And so I was like, oh, I should make the Indiana Jones reference. Because they go to watch, I guess, I could literally be any of them. But he's called Sakura Jame. Sakura Jame is who he is in the Star Wars universe. But they do this belongs in a museum, but this belongs in an archival institute.
Yeah.
You think Dr. Afra watched old Sakura Jame movies, Hollows, growing up?
No.
You're right. Her dad's an actual archaeologist, so he would probably hate Sakura Jame because he'd probably be like, that's not archaeology. That's some bullshit. Because I've known some people that were studying archaeology that were also like, Indiana Jones is bullshit.
Yeah. It's a lot more boring than you'd think.
Actual archaeology.
It's mostly actually digging.
Yeah, it's more
a lot.
It's more digging and more like just having to back up your research and studies and like prove that the thing you found is what you found. And so, whereas, what would be the Nazi equivalent in a Sakura Jame film? It wouldn't be the Nihil, because it wouldn't be something that's currently going, like, It wouldn't be a current threat. Maybe the Path, depending on when the films start being made.
Could be, but I always assume that the Path was not as public for some reason.
That's true, yeah. And if the Path were that public, then I think they would recognize, oh, the Nihil are connected to that a lot sooner. Internet, you decide. What would be the equivalent to that in a Star Wars Indiana Jones film, in a Sakura Jame film? What is... Who is he fighting? What's that?
For some reason, I thought their name was, like, Sirocco.
I thought that, too, at first, and then I got the comic pulled up, and I re-looked at it. I was like, oh, it's Sakura, which I've never heard of Sakura, because that's a
the way I assume that would be pronounced right now, looking at it, is Socorro.
Or Socorro, yeah. Socorro's probably right.
Oh,
that's an actual. Yeah, no, I want the Star Wars one. No, not the real world one.
It's good to know that means relief in Spanish.
It's also good to know that it's an actual city in New Mexico.
Ah, Relief, New Mexico.
That's actually probably why it's called, Socorro. Oh, it is a Legends one. I just forgot about it. But that's because Sirocco is a more known one for me in Legends. Like, I know Sirocco. I don't know Socorro. Oh, it is mentioned in Bug. That is right, the short story. Only mentioned.
But these younglings,
while they're watching the Hollow drama, the alarms start going off telling them that the invasion is happening, and then this kid in the back starts choking on his popcorn essentially, and so they got to save him. Nobody thinks to do the Heimlich maneuver. They're like, let me use the force to clear that up.
That technique was not developed.
I'm like...
Star Wars has a surprising lack of anti-choking maneuvers.
But also that feels like a more over-the-top way of fixing the problem.
Yeah, I'm like, you needed...
You use space magic for what a Heimlich maneuver could do.
Yeah, but they also don't know...
No, I feel like they would have... I feel like Jedi younglings would have been taught the Heimlich maneuver.
If it existed in Star Wars.
Guess not. Torben, you need to teach these kids better. You're a medic. Which, by the way, is them does tie in because the kid is still freaking out, so they think he's still not feeling well. I personally think no, he's just freaking out because he just got done choking. He's gonna be fine. So instead they start freaking out and they cut a hole in the wall because everything goes into lockdown, so they can't go through the actual doors. And they try to find Torben to help this kid, and even Torben's like, "Nah, he's fine. He's just
being dramatic."
He's like, "Nah, this kid's fine. He just needs to go sit down."
Yeah.
Yeah, like I don't know, man. Torben, you need to teach these kids a little more, just a little more.
And Torben's like, all right, you had to go back and look, if you guys happen to watch a movie while the lockdown is on.
Like, he does appreciate that they took the threat. Like, he's like, no, you took this seriously, which is good. You, like, and yes, you broke some rules in the process, but if it means doing the right thing, then I can let it slide.
Then it can.
Like, you were doing the right thing. Mm-hmm. And so he's like, go back into the theater, and if you happen to watch a movie, then it's okay. Yep.
The last line of that from Torben is, go enjoy being a child while you can.
Essentially, yeah.
No, that I think is word for word.
Oh yeah, go on, younglings, and enjoy yourselves, is what he says, while you can. So yeah, it's essentially he says that.
Next up.
Next was the one you were talking about.
F the Nihil.
Yeah, Drigget. Who, let's be honest, her girlfriend, her Tarkin girlfriend.
That is exactly what that is.
They say friend in the comic, but it's the same idea as they were roommates. No, they're girlfriends. Let's be for real, comic.
I don't know.
But yeah, it's the continuation of what we saw before, where Drigget is giving but specifically that one short story where Drigget gives her information, right? So this is her giving her some more information of like, what is the warden
up to?
Like, yeah, what's the warden up to? What's the name of every Nihil that's at his base right now? What are their like schedules essentially? Yeah. And so she goes to meet Ilmason to give that, and unfortunately, Drigget was followed, because Warden and the rest of his crew, some of his crew, show up to go, well, what have we here? And then Drigget pulls a knife and goes, I've got a prisoner. That's what we got.
They're like, are you consorting with the enemy? Nope, I have a hostage.
I was outmaneuvering them. Honestly, the Warden, and this is gonna come up specifically once we start talking Volume 3 of Adventures. The Warden is dumb.
Oh yeah,
Warden is a dumb man. He is so easily tricked by children. Because let's not forget, Drigget is still a child.
Yep.
And then he gets tricked by an even younger child, once in a comic we're going to talk about later, by getting tricked by Gavi, who is even younger than Drigget. Mm-hmm. The Warden is a dumb dummy.
Yep.
But I also love it. Yep. Especially on the Gavi one, where he's like, man, this kid is the most tactical genius I've ever fucking seen, essentially. Yeah. Basically giving Gavi, like, the kind of praise Thrawn gets. Going like, what a tactical man.
This child is a genius.
But yeah, so Drigget fakes catching Ilmasin, giving Ilmasin a chance to run away with the data card. And basically goes, I've hit base, you can't get me. It's basically what happens. Because she gets to the Tarkin home, to the Tarkin estate, and just goes, nee. Now arrest them.
Yep.
And so like the ones that the warden sent after her get arrested, and then Drigget also gets arrested. As you do, like as an undercover cop, you just get arrested with the rest of your friends that you were pretending to be friends with.
And then you get taken to a different section.
Yeah, so that way they can actually interview you and then let you out.
Yep.
And so, the Tarkin head of the Grand make some tea.
Like, would you like some tea, child?
It's good for the soul.
And Drigget's like, nah, I'm good. I'm under arrest, right?
And they're like, no, I understood that you were tricking them. And so I am also now tricking them.
Yeah.
And Drigget's like, oh, okay. She's like, yeah, we're friends. And she's like, yeah, friends. Like me being friends with Gabby before I almost stabbed him.
Yep.
And then Emerald's like, here, have a piece of my hair as evidence that you basically killed me, so that way you can get back in good with the warden. Because obviously you'll need to explain how you escaped.
Yep.
So, yeah, she goes back with to the warden, and the warden's like, ah, yes, it's all coming together.
You did good.
Because I'm a dummy who believes your story.
And as Drigget is activating a listening device.
Yeah. Of course, like I said, we got the churro one. We talked about that one, so we can.
Yeah.
I do like having a Syrian Jedi who's smart. Because we have a good Syrian Jedi who isn't Ki-Adi-Mundi. Although we've had two now in the High Republic that are good. Because we also had one in Phase 2. Also, the living embodiment of the heart of the Aerodac are so strange looking but cute at the same time. It's a very weird balance that they've somehow created.
I feel like I've seen these creatures before, but I can't recall.
They look like something out of a Jim Henson production. Like, they look like they would fit in very well in Labyrinth or in...
I know where I've seen them before, or at least something like them.
Or, like, they look like they could be on Fraggle Rock. Or
they look like some of the forest spirits from Princess Mononoke.
Oh, yeah. But, yeah. They even make...
They look a little cuter, actually.
But they make poor Churro cry because of this decision.
They're like, we'll give it to you, but it will kill all of us.
And Churro's like, but I can't kill. And so Churro makes the kind decision. And then, of course, tells his new Jedi friend, he's like, yeah, I didn't find it. Oh, well. And Jedi Rune is like, oh. Okay, well, maybe we'll figure out a solution. I know a guy. By the way, they never find that solution because that's why Nal Hutta looks as toxic as it does, by the way. Nal Hutta is a toxic-looking planet. Yeah, we get...
and we got this fucking lunatic.
Yeah, the next one is crazy Baron Boolin.
He's like, they underestimate my research, underestimate me, and I'm like...
And we basically get the backstory of one of the experiments, the sisters, one of the daughters, I guess, of his little...
Yeah, his children of the storm.
Yeah, so the first daughter, actually, the first one.
Yeah.
Which turns out to be... Yeah, what?
Yeah. I don't like any of it.
The art style... I really like the art style
the art
for this
style.
because it reminds me of the Escape from Vader's Castle, Escape from the Death Star stuff. So the Halloween specials that we've gotten for the comics. It's that vibe.
The art style is very good. I just don't like the floating bodies in the...
the Feld experiments.
Yeah.
Yeah, we immediately go from some, light sort of stories to, you like some horror, kids?
I like it, but I don't.
It's not scary. I think this is...
It's not...
I think this is not scary enough for, us, but it's scary enough for, what the age demographic of High Republic Adventures is meant to be, which is a little bit young,
Yeah.
It's meant to be, young... Not young adults, but even a little bit younger than that, teenagers and younger... So it's like just scary enough, I think, for them without being too scary.
Yep.
And I do like it. And of course, we get a connection to the trying to remember the religion in Star Wars, because they mention it, because it's what she is before she gets turned. Because they mention the white current.
Oh shit.
It's the one that's Luke's friend as well, but also on.
Well, fucking trees.
No. It's the Falanasi. So yeah, she's a Falanasi. But she's not really, because she's a bounty hunter now.
Yep.
And she gets hired to help this guy get his sister back.
Mm-hmm.
Not the way she thought.
And she's basically like, I don't do rescue missions. And he's like, well, can you do it anyway?
And in this case, it's a hostage switch.
Yep.
Because instead she becomes the experiment, and in return he gets his sister back. But that's because she's more powerful to the more connected to the Force.
I'm not. There's a weird part of me, right? That's like, you know what? I get it. I get how this course of action could seem reasonable.
Because he doesn't know this lady. He just hired her and was like, I don't know you, so like I have no connection to what happens to you after I turn you in as the bargaining chip.
Yep. My sister's more important to me than you are, lady.
And unfortunately, yeah. But yeah, we get a little backstory of like the first time that Baron Bulin succeeded in creating a child of the storm. They show us some of them that aren't alive anymore, though, or aren't children of the storm anymore. Like the Jedi Master one isn't one, but he is alive. Why did my brain just forget her name? Star Wars Witcher. Ty. Yeah, Ty York's master. Because they show art of him, but he's not one anymore.
Yeah.
He's still alive, but he's not one anymore. But Baron Bulin is a little bit like, I'm going to get out of this prison because my children will free me. And I'm just like, well, he's dead.
Yep.
Because they show the first one we ever meet, which is dead because they killed him in the mainline High Republic series.
Sicarus is also dead.
Yep, Sicarus is also dead because he died in the books. And then Tyorik's master is alive, but he's not.
But he's not going to come to help you.
Yeah.
So you get to rot in your cell, Mr. Bulin.
Except for maybe the first daughter, because we don't know anything about her. Yeah, this is the first time. Yeah, this is the first time we've seen Hatar. So Hatar could come save you. Could.
Maybe. Who knows?
And then we get to my favorite, which is the last one, actually. The Stellan's Wisdom, which is Vernestra thinking back on Stellan, a memory of Stellan, and thinking back to when they went on a pilgrimage and protected these people that were making the journey because they're pacifists, and so the Jedi were like, we'll protect you as you get from point A to point B because you got rad scorpions you got to deal with on the way, essentially. The flag, or that they're called, the flag, or flage.
I think it's the flage. But...
Yeah, the flage. They're basically just giant rad scorpions.
Yeah.
and so they think back. She thinks back on that memory and how like the message that Stellan imbued, like taught her in that moment was, "Hey, you made it, and that's what matters. And we got the overall job done, even though you only killed one of them. You killed the one that was the closest to getting these poor people.
Yeah.
So therefore, you killed the most important one."
And he also admits, like, yeah, no, I got bodied the first time, and I got poisoned.
Yeah. I was stung the first time. I didn't kill any of them. So, you're already one up.
Yep.
And, like, so the point is, like, the real point is, like, always have hope, because the moment you lose that, then you forget the overall goal, which is, like, you start to stop thinking about the goal. You get worried about the little thing, like every little failure. And it's like, no, you can't think about every little failure. You got to think of the overall goal.
Yep.
Is the overall goal succeeding? And if so, then you're on the right track. And so, I like Vern's new design in this comic because she has a new haircut in it, and I kind of like it. But yeah. But that was it for the annual. I liked the annual. That was a good annual. I think there were no misses on that. I think all of them were really good short stories. Overall, that's probably an 8.
I'm gonna give it a 7.
Okay. Like
it's a solid.
Like
7.
like it does what it needs to, and yeah. I think some stories told more important things than others, but overall,
yeah.
Because an annual are filler episodes essentially for comics.
They're very fun filler episodes on that one, actually.
Yeah, that's why I gave it so good, because I was like, it's a fun filler, like it's not a bad filler. We're gonna fly through the main adventures volume a little faster. We'll kind of just talk about whatever major points we want to talk about regarding it. For the most part, it's the Battle of Valo. Yeah. It's basically the big battle for Valo we've once again, another thing we've been building up to since the start of Phase 3. Because we get the whole, oh yeah, Ram left because he's no longer in charge, and Gavi's on home base patrol. Yep. I do like the design of the Grim Devourer 2, by the way. I love the Grim Devourer 2's design. It's the skull. It's there's a skull on the exterior of the spaceship. You're gonna tell me that's not badass? That's fucking badass.
Yeah. One of the things that I noticed is that Ram put on a lot of weight.
Yeah, he put on a bit of weight. I don't know if that's a stress thing or an age thing or both. Because he also looks a lot older now.
Yeah, he looks older, and I was thinking about why. I was like, oh, wait a minute. He's been in the Occlusion Zone. He was probably really fucking hungry.
This man is stressed all the time, too.
Yeah.
He's been on the defense from the get-go.
Yep.
Because Phase 1, this man is on defense. Having to defend his homeworld and then leave it. And ever since then, the man's been on defense.
Yep.
I do like that he's hanging out with the pirate gang, though.
Yep.
And we get Thorm Scissor Punch, my favorite pirate of them all.
Fucking badass name.
For a guy for a character that could have easily been the joke character, and he is kind of the joke character, but also he's badass. He lives up to his name. He does scissor punch people. He's like, I got these crab claws, and you're gonna.
What's your legal name, sir? Thurm. Okay, well, what's your last name?
Scissor punch.
What the fuck are you? Are you?
And then he shows his hands, and they're like, oh yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And then, of course, we got Zylkeem and Orn. And so,
And Orn still doesn't say anything.
Yeah.
Because that's Orn's entire character is I will not talk.
But yeah, so, basically, overall thing, this is, the battle for Valo, where Gavi, using the Red Skull, radio center, calls for help. And basically is like, hey, the Nihil are. It would be nice if my Jedi friends showed up again, because there was that time when we all worked together and we kicked the ass out of these Nihil. It'd be nice if they showed up again, because you never know when I might need company again. Yeah, I might need some help again. And he's trying to be
he's doing his best to be subtle about it.
But also, it's on a private, it's on a secret channel, so I don't because the Nihil don't really know about the channel, so I think it's fine that he's not being extremely subtle, but he could be more subtle.
Just on the other hand, for fuck's sake, help!
Yeah. It's because they find out that the Warden's on his way, because like a Nihil calls because Gavi's been pretending to also be a Nihil commander in charge, because basically the plan of keeping Valo safe was, well, we just let the Nihil think they've won. We tell them that they've got control of Valo, but in reality it's us.
Yep.
And so he's been pretending to be the leadership, the commander of the Nihil there, and he's told, hey, the warden wants to do an inspection and also take a few of your guys for the raid on Iriadu.
Sure thing, pal.
And so
we'll get right on that.
So of course they start to that's when he
fucking help.
The
warden's coming and things are getting bad.
And so after a quick escape, Ram's like, all right, well, I gotta go get help then too from Iriadu. Unfortunately, a lot of good and bad things are happening. They're getting ready for the wedding. Mm-hmm. Ready for the wedding is what I was about to say. Try saying ready for the wedding 5 times fast, one of those moments.
One of them will fuck up.
But yeah, they're trying to get ready for the wedding. And then on top of that, they're getting ready for the invasion of Iriadu. And they're like, we can't send everybody, but we'll send Farzala.
We'll send Farzala.
We say that like that's a bad thing. No, Farzala can handle his own.
Yeah, he's actually really good.
It's just,
They're like, we have 40 people here on Iriadu and Braifang City for 2 reasons. 1, the wedding's happening. 2, the Battle of Braifang City's gonna happen in like an hour.
Yeah. And so they do manage to get there, but it's after the invasion is kind of already going off because, well, no, it hasn't happened yet.
Because Gavi
managed to outsmart the fuck out of the warden, because once again the warden is a dumb dummy. Mm-hmm. Because the warden goes, why is your commanders all got their faces painted? And he's like, oh, because they're my commanders and they're undercover.
Yep.
Because he's like, yeah, these are the leadership of the resistance. And he's like, what? And he's like, because they're my guys undercover, and they're so good that they've risen up in the ranks, and now we control them from within, making them think that they're winning, but in reality we are, which is very funny because that's exactly what Gavi is doing to you right now.
Yep.
That is what we call irony.
Yep. He's like, I'm going to do the best thing I'm good at. Lying.
And honestly, he is really good at it, or the warden, once again, is just that stupid. Little column A, little column B.
Yeah. This, I think, like, later on, once the lie is revealed, one of my favorite fucking panels.
Oh, is the everybody lies to me? Is it that? Is it when he's yelling about everybody lying to him?
It's a little bit after that.
Because I love when the warden freaks out. He's like, why is everybody lying to me?
Meanwhile, Ram and the pirates up above are like... It's this particular series of events
where they're trying to
fucks up Gavi's lie.
Oh, yeah, where they're trying to get past the... No, this isn't what fucks up his lie. It's once they're already back on the... It's once they've already made it to the surface. Because... it's not the surface, it's the fact that his guys are also fucking up them.
Yeah.
And so both the Reds, the skulls and Ram stuff going off at the same time is what ruins it.
Yeah.
Because I think the Ram stuff could have gone on just fine, but because the skulls stuff was also going on, that's what...
I'm like, if it had been like 5 minutes before or 5 minutes later...
Yeah. And so, because basically he's like, oh yeah, well, let's send your guys over to deal with the resistance and convince them to go fight for us, because he's like, oh yeah, originally he was like, we're gonna kill them, and he's like, Gavi's like, well, why do that when we can use the fact that we're in charge of them to trick them into fighting for us and use them as fodder? And he's like, oh my god, you're a fucking genius. Because once again, the warden's an idiot.
Yep.
Yeah, there it is. You really are a genius. Like, it's always my favorite of this whole thing is like the one panel fake out where at first he's angry and then he goes, "You're so smart," and you're like, "And you're so dumb, Warden."
It's like, oh, thank God, he's an idiot.
Yeah, but the fact that both Ram stuff and the Skulls are doing their thing is what. Because I think because when he hung up on his pirates up in space, they were like, "Hey, we might have a problem."
They blew up the speeder.
He's like, "We may have a problem," and he's like, "Shut up! I'm talking strategy with the smartest strategist ever."
Boss, they blew up our bikes. What do we do?
But yeah, so unfortunately,
It's that panel right there.
Oh yeah. When he's busted, yeah.
Yep.
But no, there's one later where during the big fights when he's just like, "Why does everybody lie to me?" Because you're so gullible. It is written across your forehead, Mr. Warden, sir. Like literally, it's written on your forehead, and then he would look because he would think I'm telling them the truth because he's that gullible. He's the guy you say, "Hey, it's written on the ceiling," and he looks up. But no, unfortunately, Gavi has to give a message of, "Hey, surrender," because he captures the old Jedi Master.
Oh.
And
Gavi's like, well, I don't want him to die, so I guess I better.
But then, thankfully, Ram saves the day.
Yep.
And he's like, "Hey, the real Skull here. Nah, keep fighting, bitches."
Yep.
They tell us to stop. We keep going harder. He gives like a Independence Day level speech to them. Like I can't give it as good as Ram did. Ram gives like that President from Independence Day speech. Gives the Braveheart speech, you know. And it works too. Like he gets the entire planet to basically go, "Yeah, no, we want no more Nihil."
Yeah. And Zyle's mom shows back up, and she's like, "Could you fucking call back?
Could you at least tell me that you're in trouble?" And she's like, "No, because the signal got cut out because we kind of blew up the tower."
And she's like, "No, not about that.
Just in general."
In general.
Yeah, because Ram blew up the tower because after he gave the message, Warden was going to call for reinforcements, and they were like, "Well, shit, we gotta blow it up." So they blew it up so he couldn't get reinforcements.
And like they're having,
but on the same hand, we get Dexter Jetster, Sav Maligan, and Maz, and Lava Locks. We get the Pirate Gang, Phase 2 Pirate Gang. Hell yeah! I would call this a Pyrrhic victory.
Yeah, a little bit.
Because at the end of so like I said, we're going to kind of just fly through. Because we have one more thing after this, too. They kick the Warden's ass and basically send him running without the reinforcements that he wanted. But also, on the other hand, they also ran away because they had to go to, because they're like, "We got to go to Iriadu now. Before things get bad." So, like, while leaving some Nihil there to still keep fighting, although I think ultimately the Nihil lose the Battle of Valo. Like, it's just, in this moment, it's a Pyrrhic victory because there's no clear winner. But I would say, out of the two, the Resistance definitely kicked more ass. There was more loss on the Warden's end.
Mm-hmm.
And then... But I think in the long term, like, within the next days... I think Valo could kick the rest of the Nihil out.
Yeah.
So I think that Valo wins overall. It's just, at the moment, it's not a true victory yet.
Sav has a great line of, "If the Jedi want me to stop blowing up their temples, they should quit letting Nihil in."
Yeah, because the Warden was going to shoot at everybody using the turrets And Sav's like, oh, I got something for that. Blows it up. And Ram's like, can you stop doing that everywhere we go?
It's like, I'll do it when...
Once we stop letting the enemy in our house.
Yeah.
Then we get the wedding!
Yeah!
The wedding! Wedding spectacular, let's go! By the way, I love the designs for them in this issue.
Yeah.
I love Zine and Lula in this.
Like a moment of peace.
Sort of.
I'll take a brief moment.
Sort of, because even then, the whole time they're having to set up for the Battle of Iriadu, where they're like, "Oh yeah, we need to like make sure that the Tarkans are on our side, otherwise the Iriaduans will not be on our side." So throughout the whole time, we're getting kind of this side story. Like the main story is actually them trying to get people to get in touch with the Tarkans.
Mm-hmm.
Also, we get Emmerich and we get some flirting.
Yep.
Between Sion and Emmerich. Like to the level where I think if there was not an interruption for one more panel, they absolutely would have kissed.
Oh yeah.
Because they
it's very much from Emmerich explaining to everyone, she's not my girlfriend. Everyone else, she is absolutely your girlfriend.
Like, it goes, hey, I've been thinking, and she makes fun of him for that. And he's like, I'm an investigator, and you're an investigator, that's what we do. And she's like, yeah, but not like just thinking, especially not on a wedding day. And so, like, then she shows him about the outfit she's wearing. Very beautiful, by the way. Mm-hmm. And she goes, what are you thinking about? And he's like, whoa, you. And she's like, well, yeah, but I mean, of course you are, because look how cute I am, essentially. And then he starts stuttering. My boy, he's like, he's suffering, and
he's sweating.
He's literally sweating. The last panel before they walk in on them, he's sweating. My boy Emmerich. I mean, he's failing at his game, but it's still working.
Yeah. And then, like, the door gets busted down by, like...
by Lula and
Zine, and they're like, we need your help.
Sion immediately goes, who we killing? Sion goes, I got my gun, let's go.
And they're like, whoa, 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 whoa.
We like the enthusiasm.
But that's not why we're here.
It's like, maybe, like, in the next couple hours, but for now, we need to get in touch with the Tarkans.
Yeah. She's like, oh, okay.
I love that Sion is ready at a moment's notice, though. She's a girl's girl. She's ready. She's like, you want me in a fight? Let's go. Emmerich and Sion are my favorite.
Yeah, they're the best. I still remember the last time we saw Emmerich and Sion, like the Nihil that put like his hand on Emmerich, and Emmerich apologized for what was gonna happen.
That was great because Pixie was watching that when I was like, that's what Pixie would do for Zach. And she said, hey, I would. Hey, we get a throwback to a Phase 1 sort of deal.
Yeah, holy
we
shit.
Get our Dr.
Utterson,
yeah. Dr. Utterson, who I love Utterson's journey in this comic. Bro goes from I'm always carrying grenades to hey, we need to find the peaceful solution.
Yeah.
Because Yaddle breaks this man. Yaddle goes, you're hurt. And it's okay to confront that. It's okay to confront your pain. It's okay that you need to forgive yourself. And it works, and Utterson just breaks. And meanwhile, Dexter Jetster, who was like guarding him, making sure he didn't do anything crazy, is just watching this like...
Alright.
I need more Dr. Utterson, Dexter Jetster team up, though, after this. Because then they go to basically keep the Nihil distracted.
Yeah.
While Zine and Lula can go talk to the Tarkins. And the distraction is basically Dexter starting a fight.
Yeah.
And Utterson going, no, we can find the peaceful solution, because now he's all...
Yeah.
Which is really funny, because he's like, I'm carrying these grenades, and even his wife is like, you gotta stop doing that.
He's like, nah.
And now he's finally stopped, thanks to Yaddle, giving him a single hour of therapy sessions in 10 minutes. Utterson just needs therapy.
Utterson just is like, alright, my family is safe, I'm safe. Dex is like, what if I just shot some of these Nihil?
Correction, he's attacking, like, Tarkins, but he doesn't use...
Oh, it's stun.
Yeah, he's using stun, but still.
Yes. I guess we'll just start a brawl with everyone.
Oh, yeah, the splash page. Yeah, we get the nice two-page splash where we get a big old brawl. And all this is while Zine and Lula... Well, no, Emmerich, sorry. Emmerich's the one that goes to talk to them, and they're like, well, you must find her in the tunnels. We put her in the secret tunnels. And they're like, because we were not going to help you, but we've decided we're going to, because, like, the Nihil already kind of know everything we're doing.
Yeah, so we might as well.
Might as well tell you. Meanwhile, Zine and Lula get the amazing moment of having Cantum Sai, who they thought wasn't going to make it because they were, Yada was like, oh yeah, they're on secret assignment. But Cantum makes it in time, and then Maz gets to be the officiator, which is awesome. But Severin does make it to the wedding in time for them to be like, hey, so are you on our side? And it's basically like, yeah, we're gonna.
This is Ariadu.
I do like the pun that they planned. Because they planned the pun for the wedding officiating. And because even Maz goes, all right, everyone, as we practiced for light and wife.
Yeah.
What a great pun. And then they're like, all right, now to go kill some bitches.
Murder.
And they say it so joyfully, but let's be honest, no, this is gonna suck.
Yeah.
This is gonna suck when we go through it.
I remember we were talking about yesterday, and I'm like, oh, it's gonna be bad.
We're gonna get some main character deaths.
Yeah.
Speaking of the Battle of Iriadu starting, though, the last topic for today is the Tales from the Occlusion Zone Sparks Fly short story. It's a very short story.
Miss Kang, if you fucking hurt the agents, I will never forgive you.
But yeah, so it's basically the Battle of Iriadu starting, and so it turns out our crew have been kind of just hiding out here and living the good life until now.
Yep.
And so Pika's like, I gotta get out of here. I gotta go find my husband. Because I'm 8 months pregnant. I'm carrying this baby. She's gonna have that baby in the next issue. I'm just saying. It's gonna be a preemie baby.
Maybe.
I think it's gonna be a preemie baby because storytelling 101. Big battle happening. Woman who's really on the late stages of pregnancy. She's gonna have that baby.
We'll see.
She's gonna have that baby. I almost want to put money down on it that next issue she has that baby. That's how confident I am. But we don't do that around here, really. So
we don't gamble, mostly on account of how we're both broke.
Yeah. But yeah, so Pika shoots her way like a badass through all this.
Yeah.
And despite being 8 months pregnant, like, she carrying that baby.
Yep.
We get to see the art. She got that baby. Meanwhile, Gal is like fighting a bunch of Nihil, and they're like right next to the river essentially.
Yeah. In the back of my brain, I'm like, you chose the worst spot to pick a fight with Gal.
Yeah. So like yeah, because Gal ends up leading him into the water, and they fight in the water, and then obviously they lose because you're fighting a Mon Calamari in water.
What did you think was going to happen?
And then the plan becomes, hey, let's trick all the other Nihon to run in here.
Yeah.
And then
the way they do this, the way they trick them with EB providing some cover fire for Gal and Pika is Pika has essentially basically been like, you know what would be a cool thing to use as explosives? The stuff I was going to make for my kid, but I need to stay alive in order to do that first. They're like little wind-up toys.
Yeah, little wind-up toys, yeah. And so, then Gal's like, I've got this. Get the fuck out of here. Go find your husband. You do not need to be fighting.
Yep.
And so, Pika does eventually locate her husband, but then we end on a cliffhanger with shots going off, and then Joss going, no! Which means something happened. Mm-hmm. And then cliffhanger.
Obviously, he's still in a state to complain about it, so that's a good sign.
So he's not dead, but
whatever it was is not great.
Yeah. Well, correction. So she doesn't find him still. He's just on the radio.
She is able to finally make contact.
Yeah.
Because that's what the other thing she's been trying to do throughout this entire
Yeah, she's like, answer the goddamn phone.
Pretty much.
Do we need to get Life 360 on here?
Star Wars Life 360. It's a lot more advanced, I think.
But that's everything. Volume 3 of Adventures, solid 7. Actually, you know what? For the Wedding Spectacular, an 8.
Yeah.
The Wedding Spectacular definitely gives it an 8.
Give it an 8, and I'll give the short story a 9.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm sticking with 8 for the short story. It's solid. It's solid, but once again, it's the short story thing where I need the next chapter before I can really decide like the overall narrative. But I am enjoying it. God, it's so crazy to think we're so close to the end of Phase 3.
I know.
Which means we're almost at the end of the entirety of it. Or at least of the major, like the major story they wanted to tell us. Right?
Yeah.
Because we keep saying, oh, well, they'll probably do more High Republic era stories. They just won't be the High Republic project anymore, right? Like we're getting more Acolyte stuff. That's High Republic era, but it's not part of the High Republic initiative, right? That's it, though. So my brain's trying to figure out what we're reading next. Okay, cool.
Did you figure it out?
Yeah. So thank you all today for watching the episode of Escape Reality Star Wars Talk. I've been your host, Caleb. Be sure to like, comment, follow, subscribe to us. You can find us at Escape Reality Films on YouTube, Twitch, Kick, TikTok, and Blue Sky. You can also show your support for us by joining our Patreon, which is at Escape Reality Films. Shout out to Jennifer Brantley. Woo! There you can watch our YouTube content before it's publicly available. Also be sure to check out our Discord, which is also linked down below, so you can become a part of our community. Last time we watched Kroll, which was a good time. Everybody enjoyed that. That was a nice little...
It's always a solid choice because, like, for all of the messiness,
like
it's very genuine.
Like it's an 80s film that you can tell is an 80s film, but at the same time, 80s films just kind of have this vibe about them where even if they're really cheesy, which Kroll is, and even if there's like that level of, oh, that background's a little fake looking, it's kind of cute still, and you're just like, you know what, this is fun. And that was kind of what we all, like, that's what we took away from rewatching it and having Britt watch it for the first time, was like, yeah, that was fun. That was a fun movie.
Britt asked a lot of questions. We were like, why does it work this way? And I'm like, I don't fucking know.
Also, you and I also were asking those questions jokingly, like, why is this to happen? Magic.
Yep.
But no, next time, though, we're watching more Highlander.
All right.
we're going to continue season 4.
I'm curious as to what Brit's pick for what to watch next will be.
Well, we're still finishing I think we're going to continue My Little Pony. I don't think we're stopping. I think we are now just at episodes she has never seen before.
Oh, okay.
So this will be interesting for all of us.
Yep. And so for you, we're continuing Highlander.
For now.
We're continuing My Little Pony.
And then we're starting JoJo's.
And we're starting JoJo's, which for me, I'm like, this is going to be a fun one, because while I have seen things and I have context, that doesn't help me as much as you'd think it would. There will be times when you will ask me a question and I will just have to tell you to look at the screen.
Yeah. But that's it, really. Once again, thank you all for watching. Join us next time where we should be live again as we read the Hyperspace Stories Qui-Gon comic that we've been waiting for, finally, because that is out now, so we can finally read that. I've spoken.
All right. Y'all be safe out there.